Alright, what is going on, y'all? Soul here, and welcome back to my story mode. So if you've clicked on this video, you already have a general idea of what we're going to be talking about today. Considering that they used to be such an important piece to the Pokemon series, it's gotta be asked, do we need HMs for the upcoming Diamond and Pearl remakes? Now I think that it's fair to ask, but reasonably it is still very early on and we don't truly know enough about these remakes. For all we know, this could be way bigger than just an upscaled port. Considering how far away it is, it's probably gonna be a while before we get any true information on it, but there is nothing stating that these remakes or ports or whatever they are simply that. Hell, as far as we're concerned, this could be a complete reimagining for all we know. Look at Oraz. I didn't play Sapphire or Ruby recently or anything, but I know for damn sure it didn't go down like that. Anyhow, it should probably be noted that this is a very specific case. With a game like Sword and Shield, it was kinda obvious that we weren't getting anything like HMs. They just didn't look like they were needed. It should also be noted that we haven't had actual HMs since 6th gen. And I know for damn sure none of y'all forgot getting carried over the threshold like a bride by Machamp. Point is, we haven't had HMs in quite some time now, so we got kinda used to it. However, we also haven't had remakes in quite some time. And I know I say long time in exaggeration, but to be fair, Let's Go was a real thing that actually happened. And Let's Go is very validly included within the last 5 games where we have not had HMs to use. So long story short, we're in a bit of a weird spot, which is why I thought that this was worth bringing up. Now, I'm not really sure what this means for the long run. I don't know if this will actually have an effect for future entries or remakes or anything like that, but if HMs are changed, then I have no doubt in my mind that there are other big changes coming to these remakes as well. Now, in the title, I did probably put need up there, but in reality, all I'm doing is breaking down the ups and downs of actually bringing back HMs. Basically, I'm diving into whether they're important or not and whether or not we need them for these remakes. Or at the very least, I'm giving my opinion on the situation. So I guess without further ado, why don't we go ahead and start talking about if we need these HMs to come back for these remakes. Let's start with why I think it would make sense for them to come back. Let's start with the obvious and talk about the fact that the remakes map looks very similar so far to that of the originals. The designs of the trainers, the top-down view, the layouts of each city and town, so far look pretty much one-to-one. So far we haven't seen any routes or anything that would usually require HMs, so that's where the question kind of comes into play. Because everything looks so similar, it looks like it's gonna be kind of hard to avoid. Now, true enough, there's also nothing saying that everything could have changed for all we know. Currently on that front, there's simply nothing to confirm nor deny. Simply the only thing that we have right now is that everything has clearly been upscaled. And if they truly took the safe route of going one-to-one, it's kinda hard to imagine they took out one of the bigger things that makes this game one-to-one. At that point in time, HMs were kind of a staple of getting around. Like, it's kinda weird for me to imagine needing to go up to Lake Acuity and using anything other than rock climb. There's also that area where you first meet Cyrus where you can take the long way around or you can just rock smash your way through and make your way to Hardhome City. I know that one's not as mandatory, but I literally cannot remember a time where I didn't have Rock Smash ready to go to get through that part faster. Whatever the case may be, routes are back, and we do need something to get through these routes. Of course, assuming that these routes are the same. I think that it would be strange not to have something to the equivalent of HMs considering that we're back in Sinnoh. And you know, unless I'm remembering it incorrectly, in Sinnoh I don't recall having a buddy that carries all of the HM equivalents for you. A device that literally summons Pokemon that you don't even own to get the job done for you. And I sure as hell don't remember any kind of taxi service to get you to places faster, or a bike that lets you become Jesus. So long story short, if the routes are actually truly back and there are obstacles in our way, it's gonna be hard for me to imagine them taking out HMs and not changing up a lot of things entirely. Moving on to my next point here. Having HMs in the mix had us doing a lot more strategizing and calculating than we even realized in our original playthroughs. They brought on a lot of hefty considerations that applied to the long hauls of building our teams. Yeah, sure, sometimes it was really hard to sacrifice a long-running team member for an HM slave, true enough. But it kinda made you realize the importance of coverage on your team. For instance, I can't remember the last time I've gone without a flying type on my main team. Growing up, I always had the anticipation that I was gonna need one so that I could get around the towns faster when I finally had access to the HM to do so. But utilizing it, I've come to find flying types is one of my favorite types in all of Pokemon. HMs have just generally taught me to be a little more versatile when it comes to my teams. Yeah, sure, Rock Smash may not be stab on this Pokemon because it's not the correct typing, however, it was nice to have a move that could take care of normal types and ice types a lot easier until I did get a Pokemon, until I got a Mon that could properly utilize the move and deal damage even better. And look, now I've properly learned what I needed to learn about fighting types. Obviously, I'm being a little dramatic about it, but my point is they served a lot more purpose than simply letting you move forward with roots. Hell, in the right situation, even Cut can do you a lot of justice when you're rocking a Pokemon that only has Scratch and Leer on it. It's not like it was crazy strong as a move by itself or anything, but hey, at least you could progress and use a stronger move than Scratch. But hell, if you want a really good move, Surf is a phenomenal option. Are you still rocking Bubble Beam on that second form water starter? Have I got the deal of a lifetime for you, buddy? Now granted, I know that Surf is still very much a TM, however, it's not as accessible because it's no longer mandatory to get around. Anyway though, I think you catch my general drift by now. Overall, they served more purpose than letting us move places. Moving on to my next point, this is something that I didn't think about until literally just now. But not having HMs kind of renders the move deleter completely useless. If y'all are remembering, back in the day, the only way to get rid of an HM on a Pokemon was through the move deleter, which is why so much heavy consideration went into teaching a Pokemon an HM. You were not allowed to get rid of an HM by itself. You could not teach your Pokemon a TM by replacing an HM. That did not work. However though, with the last couple of generations, not only are HMs not a thing, but heart scaling is no longer a thing either. If you want a Pokemon to relearn a move, you simply go to the move relearner. They can teach that Pokemon literally any move that they've learned in the past. Okay, sick! TMs are super easy to learn, they can replace other TMs no problem. But what is the move deleter doing now? Now I could be completely in the wrong here, or maybe I'm just straight up forgetting something, but I cannot think of one single benefit to deleting a move and not replacing it with another. You can literally put a TM on any of your Pokemon at any given time. It doesn't matter if they have all 4 moves, you can replace any one of them that you want. So what's the purpose of creating more work for yourself by going all the way to a Pokemon Center and having a move deleted? Game Freak, by deleting those boys, I don't think you realize that you put all of them out of a job, dude. So now we're going back into these remakes. I have no doubt in my mind that heart scaling is very much a thing. We have the entire underground. We could farm as many heart scales as necessary to teach the Pokemon the moves that we want them to learn. However, if HMs are actually gone, that renders the entire move deleter that's sitting there in Canalave City absolutely useless. I will literally never visit his house because I know that he's not gonna do anything useful for me. And you know, I gotta tell you, Chief, that sounds like a huge waste of programming. Hey, maybe this is just me being dramatic, but I gotta say, that's kind of a sad image. I just don't want my man getting put out of a job for no reason. He doesn't deserve that. Anyhow, one of my last points as to why we do need them to come back is just the fact that HMs kind of played a hefty role in the puzzle aspect when it comes to Pokemon. Now don't get me wrong, a lot of the puzzles have been implemented into the gyms. And there's never been a gym that required HMs at all, so you could go into any gym and battle with whatever team you wanted. And that's definitely cool and all. However though, I want you to tell me what was more satisfying than finally breaking out of Victory Road after using an abundance of strength, rock smash, and whatever else you needed to do to get through. Yes, Pokemon, I know that puzzles can be challenging sometimes and people don't like things that are hard a lot of the time. But what's the point of playing a game if you're not getting any kind of satisfaction from overcoming a challenge? Y'all gotta remember that a lot of your fans grew up on Nintendo consoles, which means that they grew up on games like Legend of Zelda, and we managed to get through those just fine. There was nothing like overcoming a challenge that required the strength HM and then finishing it and giving that screen a brisk middle finger. Just putting it out there that puzzles are not a bad thing to have in the game, and adding them to routes only made them that much more fun to explore. Sure, having a straight path with a bunch of trainers is kinda nice and all, it's easy levels and all that, but I gotta say, I kinda miss the times when I would use Rock Smash, battle that hidden trainer that was underground just to get to that random item that was sitting there. It's kinda funny, I'm speaking as if HMs are already gone from the remakes. I don't even know that yet. But But anyhow, that just about does it for why I think they need to make a return for these remakes. However, there is another side to this. Why don't we start getting into why we probably don't really need them all that much? It's very weird to use it in this context, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Let's Go is living proof that HMs don't really need to exist, even in regions that we've already previously explored. When you really look at the region of Kanto in Let's Go, it is pretty much exactly the same as we've always known it since Gen 1. For the most part, the places where HMs were mandatory, like Cut, Strength, and Surf, are very much present. Now to clarify once again, I'm using Let's Go as reference because 7th Gen and 8th Gen are brand new regions. They already had pre-built-in methods to get around without HMs. Let's Go, on the other hand, was completely based off the original Gen 1. So clearly, even though it was a remake, it needed a little more tweaking. And you know what? I gotta say, they were pretty damn clever with it. Having secret techniques for your partner Pokemon that literally never left your side was kinda perfect. While very convenient though, I will say there were probably a lot of better ways to work this mechanic. There is no logical reason as to why a Pikachu or an Eevee would have a surfboard just tucked away somewhere ready to go at your convenience. That just don't make much sense, but I digress. It is very convenient. Speaking of convenient, that kind of brings me into my next point. Not having HMs for the last couple of generations have freed us from the chains of no longer needing HM slaves. Yeah, Bidoof and Bibarel were phenomenal HM slaves back in the day, but if we don't have them now, you'll come to realize that Bibarel is actually a pretty decent Pokemon. But I'm sure a lot of people growing up in my generation probably wouldn't even really know that because they utilized Bibarel and Bidoof as nothing more than their Cut, Rock Smash, and Strength slaves. That right there really just goes to show with my generation that if a Pokemon could learn more than one HM, that was pretty much their entire existence for us. But now we can get along and actually teach that Bibarel whatever the hell we want. And it certainly frees up a lot of party space considering that we don't have to accommodate for a typing that may need an HM forced into their moveset down the road. I've gotta say, it's also very convenient that I didn't have to run into a cave, see that there was a rock in my path, and realize that I have to either force somebody on my team to learn Rock Smash or go all the way back to the Pokemon Center and grab an HM slave if I even have anybody that's compatible with Rock Smash. If there's one thing about the newer generations that I have to give credit for, it's definitely that. There's definitely a difference in removing challenge and adding quality of life. So I gotta say, even if HMs were removed, it probably wouldn't be the worst thing to happen. Especially because, and this leads me into my final point, they don't really have that much of an effect on the overall story. Once again, utilizing Let's Go as proof, as long as HMs are replaced with something that lets us traverse and get through puzzles if there are any, all that would do is improve upon the quality of life and let us traverse things more conveniently. I've thought about it for quite some time now, I have to be honest with you. The first gym leader that we ever face is literally a miner. What is stopping him from giving us a kit to break rocks? Huh? Now, I'm not sure how they would go about replacing HMs such as Cut, Fly, or Strength, but that is one of the very few things that would be so easy to replace it's not even funny. That way, you also don't even have to get rid of the puzzles. Just make them more convenient, and I think a lot of people will be a lot more inclined to play through the game. But hey, that's just my take on it. So as far as my overall thoughts go, if I haven't made this clear already, I'm perfectly fine with not having HMs. From the last few years of Pokemon games that we've had, of all the things that I'm upset about that they removed or changed, I gotta be honest with you, HMs was not really one of them. Like I said earlier in the video, I do appreciate what they did for me. However, I've kinda grown past them now. And even then, I'm sure that I would have gotten along just fine without them. I did appreciate the minimal challenge and thought process that it added when coming to team building and everything, but it's not like their disappearance would necessarily be anything game breaking. I gotta say though, one thing that we definitely did lose a little bit of is incentive to talk to other NPCs. Nowadays, most things that you need to progress in the game are given to you throughout your journey, so it's very hard for you to miss them. Which means now I'm not really as worried about talking to NPCs because 9 times out of 10, they're not really doing anything useful for me. I don't know if y'all remember this, but side quests aren't a thing in Pokemon. One of the primary reasons that we had for talking to them was to gain items or to gain an HM so that we could actually progress in the story. Without that in the last couple of games, I can tell you right now, I have not talked to even 40% of the NPCs in Sword and Shield. But whatever on that one, that could just be a me thing. So whatever the case may be, I'm clearly fine if they remove HMs. However, if they do make the decision to remove those, I'm gonna want something in the place of that so that we don't have to lose our roots. Smashing rocks to get to that extra treasure is very fun. There is no need to remove that. Just don't make it so that we have to search high and low to get rock smashed to go make it happen. But yeah, that just about does it for me. But with that, I want to hear your guys' opinion on the situation. Assuming that you guys even think that it's a situation. Should we have HMs returned for this one-to-one looking remake? Or should we have something similar to Let's Go in which we don't need to search around for HMs so that we can progress through the story? I want to hear what you guys think in the comment section below. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and skedaddle on out of here. Thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment and subscribing for more content like this. And I hope to see you guys in the next video and some streams, probably in the very near future. But with that, I'm out of here. Thank you again. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Do me the greatest favor of taking good ass care, and I'll see you all then. Bye!